Welcome back, Power9 fam. I'm back here to do another Fireside Chat video. Before we get started, I want to cover a couple quick things that are going on in the shop. First, we're up on TikTok. Follow us at Power9 Games. Dom's posting weekly videos to keep you updated with all like the news, the new releases, and some fun stuff going on in the shop. Second, we're about real close to the release of All Will Be One, and if you guys have not checked out the new spoilers, the Phyrexians are here, and oh my goodness, are they here to take over. It is looking like hot fire, so we are all very, very hyped for that set. Aside from the Phyrexian flavor, like there are some seriously cracked cards for whatever format you play. We're also really working on expanding our Gundam selection. If you haven't been by the shop lately, we have grown by leaps and bounds, and we've got an entire new Gundam display here in the works that should be coming out soon, so stay tuned. And with that, let's get to your questions. So when it was first announced, I don't know if opposed is the right turn of phrase, but I wasn't thrilled. It didn't tickle my fancy. It is now my favorite way to play Commander. The precons are with some slight modifications. They absolutely knocked it out of the park, both in terms of flavor and balance and feel. It is one of my favorite Magic products that has released to date, and I didn't think I'd be in that camp. It's actually got me a little excited for this year's release of the Lord of the Rings Magic set, and as soon as I finished playing my first game with the new Commander decks, I immediately turned to Henry and the guys, and I was like, I kind of want a 40k Magic set now, because I want to iterate and riff on the decks, but I don't want to throw in non-40k cards. So I understand how if people don't particularly enjoy the crossover, but I thought it was fantastic. There is. We have so much going on all the time. I don't know how apparent it is from across the counter, but Dom and Henry and Jesse and I and all the guys, we are just working nonstop on so many projects. So we're spread a little thin. It's definitely something that we want to get back into. I'd be lying if I said that it was like a front burner project right now, but we haven't forgotten about it, and we're actually in the process of renovating our back break room and bringing it back to more like a streaming setup. I would sell it to them. Easiest slam dunk question ever. Like what? Like we're in the business of like trying to move as much of our product out the door as quickly as possible. I probably wouldn't reorder everything, I'm not gonna lie, but like yeah, that would we would all go out for steak and like some sweet dinners that day. You better believe it. My treat. Utah Raptor. If you guys have seen Jurassic Park, they call the Velociraptors Utah Raptors. Utah Raptors are the big raptors. They got that brain power going on. They're thinking dinosaurs. Utah Raptor. It is a function of how much we take in for the event. We actually have a calculator already set up that does everything for us. All we have to do is plug in the number of attendees, the amount that we've taken in, and then what it does is, depending on the competitiveness of the event, first always gets a little more, and then if it's a more competitive event, they get a considerable amount more, and then second gets less than first, and then third and fourth, depending on the event, are typically at like the same level, the same kind of like payout structure, and then again, depending on the size, fifth through eight also typically receive about the same amount. But we try to keep it as straightforward as possible and get as near close to 100% paid out as we take in. The most rewarding part is when you do something well and you feel like you're a genius, like you're God's gift to whatever business or industry that you happen to be working in. And conversely, you feel like the biggest idiot in the world when you whiff on something, even if it's something that's like objectively, logically not under your control. You're just like, oh my God, I'm the worst. And boy, let me tell you, the first couple of years, the slalom back and forth, the delta between the high and the low, oh man, that will mess you up the first couple times, especially if you're not ready for it. I've gotten a little more even-keeled now. I've learned like some patience and worked on some internal growth. But yeah, when things go well, you're like, I'm on top of the world, and then the next day you're like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this to myself? So, good question though. That is a really good question. I always like learning, so I probably want to sit down with, I don't know if there's too many, I'm sure if I really thought about it, there's some people I could rattle off who are still alive, but there's a physicist, Dr. Richard Feynman, who I would have loved to have chatted with. I mean, if you want to go into like real historical figures, like, you know, from a safe distance, or at least with some, like, you know, personal protection protocols ensured, like I'd love to chat with Genghis Khan and be like, yo, but why? Really get into the deep, hard-hitting questions. But yeah, there's, gosh, a long list. I really can't think of like who would the top three be, but good question. We got you, fam. Dom and I are hard at work on our freshening mechanisms throughout the store to try and make us the best smelling game store you've ever been in. Next time you're in, let us know if you notice any difference or improvements. But it is something that's been on our radar a little bit, and while there is some amount of like personal accountability, we want to try and like make this shop just as minty fresh as possible. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Right now, buddy, we have until the end of January to get your signups in, and then the end of February to get your submissions done. And then after that, we'll try and shoot for a 1 week turnaround on judging and announcement, and then we want to try and get Paint to Glory back up and running. So expect it to a new one to be live every quarter, basically. That's the goal. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you at the table.